Good morning, everyone. Commander of the Guard, present the colors. John, please place the POW MIA flag. As we next have the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, I would ask that everyone who has a hat, please remove your hat for these two items. Tom, please do the invocation for us.
Hello. This is a prayer of sorts by Father Dennis O'Brien, Edward O'Brien, a U.S. Marine Corps. What is a veteran? Some veterans bear visible signs of their service: a missing limb, a jagged scar, a certain look in the eye. Others may carry the evidence inside them: a pin holding a bone together, a piece of shrapnel in the leg, or perhaps another sort of inner steel, the soul's ally forged in the refinery of adversary. Except for parades, however, the men and women who have kept America safe wear no badge or emblem. You can't tell a vet just by looking. He is a cop on the beat who has spent 6 months in Saudi Arabia sweating 2 gallons a day, making sure an armored personnel carrier didn't run out of fuel. He's a barroom loudmouth, dumber than a 5 wooden plank, whose overgrown frat boy behavior is outweighed 100 times in the cosmic scale by 4 hours of exquisite bravery near the 38th parallel. He or she is the nurse who fought against futility and went to sleep starving every night for 2 solid years in Da Nang. He is the POW who went away one person and came back another, or didn't come back at all. He is the drill instructor who has never seen combat, but saved countless lives by turning slouchy, no-account rednecks and gang members into Marines and teaching them to watch each other's back. He is the parade-riding legionnaire who pins his ribbons and medals with a prosthetic hand. He is the career quartermaster who watches the ribbons and medals pass him by. He is 3 anonymous heroes at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, whose presence at Arlington National Cemetery must forever preserve the memory of all anonymous heroes whose valor dies unrecognized, and with them on the battlefields of the ocean's silent, sunless deep. He is the old guy bagging groceries at the supermarket, palsied now and aggressive and slow, who helped liberate a Nazi death camp and who wishes all day long for his wife were still alive to hold him when the nightmares come. He is an ordinary and yet an extraordinary human being, a person who has offered some of his life's most vital years in the service of his country and who has sacrificed his ambitions so others would not have to sacrifice theirs. He is a soldier and a savior and a sword against the darkness. He is nothing more than the finest, greatest testimony on behalf of the finest, greatest nation ever known. So remember, each time you see someone who served our country, just lean over and say thank you. That is all, that is all most people need in most cases, and it will mean more than any medals that we could have awarded them, or could have been awarded or were awarded. Two little words that mean a lot: thank you. It is a soldier, not a reporter, who gives us freedom of the press. It is a soldier, not a poet, who has given freedom of speech. It is a soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us the freedom to demonstrate. It is a soldier who salutes the flag, serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag, who allows the protesters to burn the flag. This is from Father Dennis Edward O'Brien, USMC. Thank you.
John, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Could everyone join me, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In that it's approximately 11 o'clock, I ask that all who are able please stand, and I think you've already done that. We want to pause for a moment to remember the armistice that ended World War I and all those who have served in the U.S. military, past and present. Our vocalists this morning are Katie and Tim Amaral. Unfortunately, we mixed up Katie's name when I did the program this morning. But Katie and Tim, if you'd like to step over here and lead us and then perform the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air,
Please be seated. We have a number of items in our program this morning that we want to get to, but first I want to welcome all who are attending this morning as we join to remember the service and sacrifice made by our veterans. While our deepest gratitude may be for those whose lives were lost during military service, we have a duty as citizens to honor what they have done over 2.5 centuries in the defense of freedom. We also need to remember our current active duty and reserve personnel as they represent the United States in over 100 countries around the world. As we begin our Veterans Day 2013 program, I want to thank everyone who's been involved in organizing for today. At the top of the list is Simsbury VFW Post Commander John Romano, who's standing back here with the color guard this morning. Also to the town staff who execute all of the arrangements that make use of this facility possible for us. The VFW Auxiliary, who's providing refreshments at the close of the program in the rotunda outside, and Katie and Tim Amaral, who some may remember were with us last year, and once again, a beautiful job as our vocalists. They're taking time off from their school day to be with us once again. To the fellows in the color guard, again, appreciation. The Boy Scouts of Troop 76 are behind me. Nancy Fellinger is our bagpiper again today, and we appreciate her volunteering to do that once more for us. In addition, we have 2 members from the Board of Selectmen here this morning. Lisa Havener, the Deputy First Selectman, is to my immediate left, and I know I saw Nancy Hasse right here in the front row, so thank you. We really appreciate the support of the Board of Selectmen throughout the year, and I know our State Representative John Hampton is also here this morning, so good morning, John. I'd like to take a moment and ask for a round of applause for everybody who makes this possible. Thank you. Now, we're going to, in moving on here, Mary Glassman wasn't able to be with us, but Deputy First Selectman Lisa Havener is going to take a moment to offer some comments. So, Lisa?
Thanks, Bruce, and I also wanted to just quickly thank you for all your efforts today. We appreciate all you do. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's an honor to be here on behalf of the Board of Selectmen and the town of Simsbury. Today, we honor our veterans for their service, love of country, and sacrifice for our country's common good. Veterans Day started as Armistice Day by President Wilson, who proclaimed that this day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service, and with gratitude for the victory both because of the thing from which it has freed us and because of the opportunity it has given with peace and justice. The people of Simsbury have a great tradition of service to our community and country, and it is in service that we find our humanity. We, as a community, hold a special place in our hearts for those who put their lives in jeopardy as part of their service. It is indeed a special service, worthy of recognition today and all days. The veterans in this room serve valiantly and bravely for us and continue their service locally with so many of the good works they do, like hosting today's service, the Memorial Parade, and the Veterans Open House for returning veterans and all veterans, to let them know that they and we are there to assist and no one needs to be alone. For our veterans, duty and honor continues at home, and we are grateful. For those who did not make it home, we pause to remember their ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms and values, and give our sincere thanks to them and their families who carry on without them. We commit to remember them as you remember them. For those who are still missing, we pray for your safe return. And for those who have come home injured, both physically and emotionally, we in Simsbury wish to extend our hands and our hearts to you in any way you need. Just last month, the Board of Selectmen appointed a veterans contact for the town to assist in job placement, counseling, and other assistance for veterans. We will be working with many veterans in this room, our Congresswoman and State Representative John Hampton, to make it easier for veterans to find and better coordinate the services they need. President George Washington reflected, "The willingness with which our young people are likely to serve in any war, no matter how justified, shall be directly proportional to how they perceive the veterans of earlier wars were treated and appreciated by their nation." I add to that, and we will be fairly judged as a nation and as a community by how well we meet this obligation in the future. With that, I close with a prayer from Oliver Wendell Holmes, who served in the Civil War. Lord, bid war's trumpet cease, fold the whole earth in peace. Thank you.
We're going to take a couple of minutes now for a special presentation by the Boy Scouts of Troop 76 and their leader, Mark Holowesco. Mark, I'm sorry. Mark Holowesco. Mark, if you'd like to come up here, and we'll let you have the podium to do the presentation.
First, I have to make one correction. I'm not their leader. I'm just an adult with working with the boys. I'd like to have Cameron Ballard and a couple of boys come up. Cameron is the venture chief. He's in charge of all the high school age scouts in Troop 76. And over this past year and a half, the boys have put together a book. And if you could show me one book, they've put together a book of all the information they could find on all our fallen soldiers. And I'll have to rephrase that, all our fallen military, so we can include everybody. It is a book of their life in the military. It goes back from the Revolution to Iraq and Afghanistan. There's 104 names in the book. We try to find as much information. We try to put pictures in it of the soldiers and all military people. We went through archives of microfilms to find pictures and stories that are included in the book. I think the kids have done a great job. And this time, first of all, I'd like to thank, before we hand out, we have 5 copies of this book we're going to hand out today. So everybody in town has the opportunity to go and see it, go through it. If there's any corrections or any additions you'd like to put into the book, it's a 3-ring binder. Just send an email to Troop 76, and we'll get the information, and we'll try to include it into all the books, so we can keep them updated. But once we started this project, a lot of people in town stepped up and tried to help. And there were many people that just came forward and to offer their assistance to find information for us. I just want to thank a few because they probably stepped up a little bit more, and I want to thank them for their help. First one on the list is Mr. Dick Dart from the American Legion. Dick got me going when it comes to trying to find the graves. And one day I went over to his house and he says, "Get in the car, we're going to look for the graves." We spent a whole afternoon going through all the cemeteries and finding the graves of all the fallen soldiers. Len Lanza, thank you. Lorraine Curtis from the Simsbury Cemetery Association. Attorney Wilson Keithlin, who gave me a lot of information about his brother, Richard, who was killed in Vietnam. Mary Glassman was instrumental in putting the book together. I thank you. Diane LeMay from the Free Library did a great job finding information for me. Ms. Roberts from the Public Library. James Ray from the Simsbury Methodist Church. Barbara Strong from the Simsbury Historical Society. Charles Forrestal from the Veterans VFW and the American Legions. Thank you for your support in putting this book together. Without your help, it probably could not have been done. So thank you. Right now, I'd like to turn the balance of this over to Cameron, who will make the presentations of the book.
At this time, I'd like to call up Bruce Elliott of the American Legion to come and receive your book.
Right here.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yep.
Congratulations.
John Romano from the VFW. Diane LeMay from the Simsbury Free Library. Susan Ray from the Simsbury Public Library. And Kevin Gray from the Simsbury Historical Society.
On behalf of all the Venture Scouts and all the Scouts of Troop 76, to all the veterans, thank you.
Thank you.
It may have become evident as Mark was speaking that this book reflects Simsbury residents who lost their lives in the service since the Civil War. So I'll put the Gift to the Legion book, that copy, out in the rotunda after the meeting if people would like to take a look at it. Our next item is our guest speaker, a traditional part of our program this morning. And today we have with us a Simsbury resident and distinguished veteran, Robert Kalichman. Would you like to come forward for your remarks?
I'd like to thank the VFW and the American Legion and the citizens of Simsbury for selecting me as the veteran to address you this year. It is an honor. And the reason it's a special honor to me, I have an uncle who's dead, was gassed in World War I, who enlisted in Connecticut, was a member of the Yankee Division, the 26th Division, which was called the Rainbow Division, which was the New England states. He was gassed at Chateauneuf in France, and he stayed in France for a month or two, was shipped to England, stayed in England for 4 or 5 months, was shipped to Scotland, and didn't return to the States because of his gas condition until a year later. And it's a special honor for me to honor him, being that he's a member of the 26th Division, and he was decorated with a Purple Heart. And incidentally, in those days, World War I, the veterans, or the soldiers, sailors, Marines, Coast Guard, were never presented with a Purple Heart. They were given a hash mark, and each time they were wounded, they had a hash mark on their sleeve. And he wasn't awarded his Purple Heart until early 41, and he was very proud of it. The Veterans Day address, November 11th, 2013, Eno Hall. At the conclusion of World War I, which many citizens refer to as the Great War, the hostilities came to an end for the United States of America and her allies. And the country then known as Germany, on October 11, 1918, This day then became known as Armistice Day. Thereafter, each November 11th throughout the past years, veterans of this great war would be honored with praise and a grateful president would thank them for their duty sacrificed to our nation. This day is intended to thank and honor all military personnel and veterans who served the United States in all wars, particularly living veterans. It is marked by praise and church services, and in many places, the American flag is hung at half-mast. A period of silence may be held at 11 a.m. sharp to mark the occasion with special assemblies or other activities. Veterans Day is officially observed on November 11th. Its history tells us that on the 11th hour of the 11th month of 1918, an armistice between Germany and the United States of America and her allies came into effect. November 11th, 1919, Armistice Day was commemorated for the first time in 1919. President Wilson proclaimed the day be filled with solemn pride and heroism for those who died in the service of the United States and with a grateful for victory. In 1926, the United States Congress officially recognized the end of World War I and declared that the anniversary of the armistice of World War I should be commemorated with prayer and thanksgiving. Congress also requested that the President should issue a proclamation calling upon the officials to display the flag of the United States on all government buildings on November 11th, and inviting the people of the United States to observe the day in schools and churches or other suitable places with appropriate ceremonies and respects to those who made the supreme sacrifice. And I might add, when you speak supreme sacrifice, when we started the festivities, the piper, she played a nice pipe. She played Flowers of the Field. And a lot of people probably aren't familiar with that tune. In all Scottish regiments, when a soldier is laid to rest, they play Flowers to the Field. And the tune that you heard is the tune that is played as a Scottish soldier is laid to rest with full military Scottish honors. Public Act 52 Statute 351 U.S. Code Section 87A was approved on May 13, 1938, which made November 11th and each year a legal holiday. Armistice Day was originally intended to honor veterans of World War I. A few years later, veterans of World War II and Korea were added with honors. Congress then changed the word armistice to veterans. This change was approved by the United States Congress on June 1st, 1954. Thus, November 11th became a day to honor all American veterans, wherever and whenever they had observed. The official day of Veterans Day observed is November 11th. On November 10th, 2013, the United States Marine Corps had a birthday. Yesterday, we had our birthday, our 238th birthday. And the Marine Corps had proudly served the United States of America with unfailing valor and celebrated 230 years of faithful service. Marines have always known hardship, fatigue, and pain. But as the Commodore of the Marine Corps, General James Amos, said, let me quote him, "We have never known what it is to lose a battle. This year, in addition, we celebrate the anniversary of 70 years of Tawala, the bloodiest battle in Marine Corps history, the 45th anniversary of Hue City, Vietnam, the 10th anniversary of the March to Baghdad. So in closing, let me ask and behoove you to remember our veteran brothers who are out there with PTSD, brain trauma, crying for help, and their calls are falling on deaf ears. And the case in point, a brother Marine in Wallingford committed suicide, and he called for help, and they sent the SWAT team. And we, in Connecticut, through our politicians, we disbanded the Rocky Hill Hospital, turned it into a home. I know, and you should know, that at the time, we had full-time psychiatrists at the State Department of Veterans Affairs. We no longer have them, thanks to the political arm in Hartford. They stripped us of everything. We have a home. And my question to you is, we have all these youngsters returning, because in the infantry, when you're over 30, you're an old man. And all these young fellas are returning under 30. What are we going to do? Send them to Rocky Hill to spend their days with veterans that are 70, 80 years old? And in closing, let me say this, and each and every person here should remember it. These veterans that we look at here, right? Each year, I'm a young veteran. I enlisted at 17. I'm 80 years old. I look out here. How long do you think these veterans, these brave men, are going to be with us? Brave men and women. They're getting up there. They're 85, 90. Now's the time to respect them. Not when they're gone, and then all of a sudden we're going to put up a plaque. Now's the time to respect them. Now's the time to give them benefits. Now's the time to make sure they have heat. Now's the time to take care of them. Not when they're gone. And here again, let me reiterate, the people in Hartford and in Washington are neglecting the veterans, not only our youngsters, but our oldsters. And it's time for you, the voters, to let your representatives know what's going on here. The talk is over. Let's see some action. And thank you for allowing me to address you. It was an honor, believe me, an honor. And I thank the American Legion, and I thank the VFW. It was an honor. Thank you very much. And in closing, Veterans Day wouldn't be Veterans Day, or Armistice Day wouldn't be Armistice Day without the reading of this poem, which goes back to my grammar school days. In Flanders Field, by Colonel John McCrae. In Flanders fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place in the sky. The larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard above, amid the guns below, we are the dead short days ago. We lived, we loved, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from falling hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders Field. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We're moving on to Katie and Tim once again. They will lead us in God Bless America, and we'd like everyone to join in. So please.
To the prayer
John, please retire the POW MIA flag. Chaplain Cronin, please lead us in a benediction.
Gracious God, grant that we appreciate the treasures of freedom that is our gift and our heritage, and that we may never forget the great price at which it was purchased for all of us. We remember this day before you and all who served in the armed forces of our nation. Protect and defend them in the day of battle and the time of peace. Grant that they may serve with honor and dignity, both to your great glory and to the credit of the nation. Amen.
Commander of the Guard, please retire the colors.
Let's face. Forward, march.
I want to thank everybody once again for coming out this morning, but before you leave, two things. One is a reminder that the VFW Women's Auxiliary has provided refreshments in the rotunda. Please enjoy those. In addition, many know this already, but the DAR sponsors an annual event in December. It's part of a national event. It's called Wreaths Across America. But it involves a ceremony that's done on December 14th, on Saturday at noontime, at the cemetery by the flagpole up on top of Plank Hill Road. But what we're looking for is people to purchase wreaths that will be used in that ceremony, and then they're placed on the graves of veterans. So there are forms outside. The DAR members, there are some here, including Debbie Payne, who's the regent. So please consider participating, either coming out on December 14th for that thing at noontime, or consider purchasing a wreath that would be placed on a veteran's grave. Again, the forms are outside in the food area. So I'm also going to have the book out that the Boy Scouts have done for us. So once again, thank you for being with us. And thank you to our speaker this morning. Mr. Couchman did a wonderful job, and we appreciate it.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.